kick off, you've worn so many hats. Former First Lady of Belize, cancer survivor, advocate, entrepreneur, visionary. So when you look back on this journey of yours, how do you personally define leadership today?
Um, I would have to say that leadership to me is courage with humility.
Hmm.
Um, it is really having the courage to step in when you need to, and the humility to take a step back and know that you have to listen to the people that you serve.
Hmm.
Leadership is service, and I think a lot of times people get mixed up with that.
Hmm.
They forget that leadership is service. We are serving
Hmm.
people, and it is using your platform to help those in your community or to lend your voice to be their voice,
Hmm.
so that they too can have a say. And so, when we use our voice to create systems, we need to make sure that we use it. Whatever systems will outlast any one person. That
Yes.
it's not just for you or for one, but
Hmm.
for beyond you.
Yes. Legacy. There's an element
Legacy.
certainly of legacy there. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Well, this leads beautifully into my next question, which is what early experiences or influences shaped your sense of service and purpose?
You know, I've been asked this question before. My father was a police officer, he was an inspector of police.
Okay.
And my mom was a nurse, she was a teacher. She worked with the Red Cross at some point.
Hmm.
She worked with HelpAge Belize, which is a center for the elderly. And there's absolutely no doubt in my mind that coming from a household where every day you saw service to others
Hmm.
has certainly influenced the way how I feel, how I go about doing things, and what I do.
Hmm.
We grew up in a home where we were encouraged to be part of the girls guides, to be in the youth groups, to be in organizations that give back.
Hmm.
And probably at that time you didn't really realize how you're being influenced or how you're being shaped.
Right.
It's not until you get a little bit older and you say, but you know what? I grew up seeing this. I grew up in a home where it was always, my parents were always giving back.
And the
So,
impact of that.
and
Right.
the impact of that, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah. That's really lovely. And so in 2008, the government of Belize appointed you special envoy for women and children, and you championed major reforms from protecting victims of sexual violence to creating opportunities for women and children. So, what leadership lessons did you learn from navigating government and social change at the same time?
Mm, I think if and it's been six years since I've been out. But I think if the biggest lesson would have to be um, patience and persistence.
Hmm.
Absolutely, because real reform really requires building relationships across many sectors.
Mhm.
government ministries, civil society donors, and those communities that you're serving.
Mhm.
And so you have to build consensus. And many times you feel like you're not being heard,
Mhm.
or you're trying to share your communities, the community that you're working for, you're trying to share their lived experience.
Mhm.
And you really have to be patient and persistent, because when you want to get something, you have to know this is not about you. This is about the people that you serve. And so if you have to call 100 times,
Mhm.
that's what you have to do.
Mhm.
If you have to knock on the door 1,000,000 times,
Mhm.
that's what you have to do, because it's not about you, it is about your community that you're serving. And it's it's not always, about staying focused on it, but it's about staying true to yourself in so many ways, in that we need to get this done, we need to build consensus, we need to, whether it's passing legislation, whether it is doing an activity for a community, whether it is advocating for someone or a group of people.
Mhm.
It is always, you will always find roadblocks somewhere or the next. And so staying focused, staying true to what you believe in, and knowing that your lived experience, you need to share your community's lived experience so that the people around the table can understand
Mhm.
what it is what changes you're trying to bring about.
Mhm. A lot of focus. Yes.
A lot, yes.
Yes. Yes. Yes. Um, and within this as well, the Lifeline Foundation has touched so many lives and provided support for some of Belize's most vulnerable populations. Can you talk a little bit about the impact of its initiatives and what you're most proud of when you think of it in terms of in the many ways it has and continues to shape Belize?
Lifeline really began as a simple promise to help children in need, and especially in the rural organization and in rural communities in Belize.
Mhm.
And it grew into an organization that funded feeding programs, built additional classrooms at schools, um, replaced bath infected roofs,
Mm.
implementing vatting vat programs for water, for rainwater, for there to be water in some of these communities, replace dilapidated furniture in
Wow.
classrooms,
Mhm.
libraries, computers. We were even able to provide medical support for children with HIV,
Mm.
children with cancer. To me, those were very impactful and meaningful, because we were dealing directly with children in rural communities in Belize. And these activities or these programs really help to keep children in schools. And
Mhm.
it also helped give families in those areas hope.
Mm. Mhm.
If I'm to think, if I have to pull what was perhaps what I'm most proud of with Lifeline, or one of the projects that I'm most proud of with Lifeline, it would have to be the fact that because of all the work that Lifeline had been doing, we were able to mobilize ordinary Belizeans and international partners to fund the only neonatal intensive care unit in Belize
Wow.
at our National Referral Hospital,
Wow.
which is the Carl Hirschner Memorial Hospital.
Hmm.
And today, every now and then, I still get messages from young mothers
Hmm.
who took the time to say, "Thank you, Mrs. Barrow. I have a preemie, and this is the only place I was able to come to for my baby to survive, and my baby's doing well." Or my daughter had triplets, and we were at a private hospital, but they sent us here to Carl Hirschner Memorial Hospital because this is the only place that could handle this type of delivery, and because they have a neonatal unit. So talking about long lasting,
Mhm.
outlasting you,
Yeah.
you know.
For
So
generations and
I would
generations. Yes.
I would have to say that would be, yeah.
That's a beautiful legacy. That's a beautiful legacy. So one of the things that has really touched me the most is how you chose to be so incredibly open about your stage 3 breast cancer diagnosis while you were serving as First Lady with a young child. And this is a time when many would have likely chosen privacy. So what led you to this decision to be so open?
There's I will say this, it was not easy, but silence breeds shame,
Mm.
and shame silences people who need help.
Mhm.
I would have never imagined that being open about my diagnosis would have been so impactful.
Mm.
In fact, just a couple weeks before I even knew I was sick, or I even knew I had cancer, I was invited by the Belize Cancer Society to offer a few words of encouragement to cancer patients
Wow.
and their families
Mm.
just 2 weeks prior. And so I understood the struggles that the organization, the Belize Cancer Society, were still facing, and we're still facing. The shame, the discrimination, the, "oh, we don't talk about this."
Mm.
So for me, there was absolutely no way
Mm.
I would not share my diagnosis with the Belizean public. I think it came at a time when we really needed more awareness, when we really needed to really show that a cancer diagnosis is not an ending, but it's a chapter where timely care, community support, and information are key. It's it was incredibly important to me to be that voice and
Mm.
to show that we're going to stay strong, we're going to stay positive, and we're going to fight through this. And we did,
You did.
thankfully.
That's a very brave thing to do.
We did.
Mm.
I think I'll also, if I could just add one thing. Going public was, I guess, I can say part health advocacy and part personal conviction to use visibility for good.
Hmm.
Even though at the time I was like, I don't know how impactful or how helpful this will be
Hmm.
for anyone. But I can safely say that since then, which was 14 years ago, I think the impact can still be felt today.
Hmm. Well, I think your instinct was very strong. Maybe it wasn't a conscious thought, but I think your instinct was very strong. And
I
that,
think it was important. It was crucial,
mhm,
especially knowing the situation, especially knowing that we were still struggling with advocacy and awareness,
mhm,
you know, education surrounding cancer. That is not a death sentence entirely. Yes, it's grave, but you know, and when we think back, okay, if you're talking 14 years ago and you think of today, there has been medical advancement.
mhm.
I've known people who have been diagnosed with cancer, and the treatment is not as severe as 14 years ago.
Right.
You know, the side effects are not as harsh.
Mhm,
So that's a positive thing when we look at it
mhm,
overall. But we still need to continue to advocate for our women and our men
mhm.
to for preventative care, and for them to seek medical help if they see something, if they feel something. I mean, that is the most important thing, because when they get to a doctor and it's an early stage, you're more likely to survive. Your chances of survival increases significantly, and so that's what we want. That's what we want for all our women and girls and our men as well.
What what signaled to you that there was is there a particular moment that you remember that signaled to you that there was a shift? Was it people sharing were they able to relay their own experiences to you? Was there, you saw more people going, looking, seeking help, or what was it that signaled that for you?
Yeah, absolutely. I think there were more people getting tested. I was very young at the time. I wasn't even due for a mammogram. So that gives you some perspective.
Mhm.
I wasn't due for a mammogram, and it sent shockwave to the community, because how could this be? We knew of older people,
Mhm.
but and I know people, because I know that it created such an impact, because even today people would still call me to provide guidance or
Mhm.
just to talk.
Mhm.
And it always comes back to, you were so brave during your
Mhm.
cancer journey, and I'm glad that I'm able to be that strength for them who are now going through it. But so many of my friends and people that I don't even know had reached out to say that they went to get their mammogram, that they're
Wow.
checking on themselves, that that they didn't realize that you can get this at such a young age, and so it's yeah.
Yeah, that's incredible. That's incredible. And so, you've spoken about not letting cancer get you down or take you down. So, how did staying active in your advocacy and your leadership work support your own healing, both physically and emotionally?
Well, first of all, at that time I had a young daughter. I had a young child that was 4.
Mm.
And to me, staying active and engaged really gave me purpose and perspective.
Mhm.
For me, if physical healing demanded rest and care, but emotional healing for me was nourishing by meaning.
Mm,
You know
mhm.
what I mean? It
I
it
totally
was
know what you mean.
it
Yes.
was like seeing my struggle, seeing that my struggle could help someone, someone else's struggle.
Mm,
And it was working on advocacy kept me connected to the people and to the reason I work, which is children, families, communities. That connection lifted me on the hard days.
mm,
I can tell you that for sure. And it reinforced that the vulnerability and contribution can coexist.
mm. I
So
love that. I
you
love that.
rest, you rest when your body is telling you you need rest.
Mhm.
But on days where you can do and you can help others on their journey and their struggles, then you can do. So yeah.
Mm. Yes, that's very wise balance. Well, I think you just answered my next question, essentially, but I was going to ask, how did that period reshape your view of strength and vulnerability?
They're partners.
Mm.
They're partners, aren't they? They are. I mean, I think, true strength is not the absence of fear because you're always fearful.
Yes.
It is the willingness to see in your fear and still take action,
Mhm. Mhm.
right?
That's the vulnerability. Right.
Right. So
Right.
then vulnerability becomes a source of connection. It allows others to relate.
Absolutely. Mhm.
It allows others to be able to reach out and to change course because they know that they're not alone,
Yes. And there's
right?
so much beauty in that. Yes. Yes.
Right. So they're absolute partners.
Yes.
And
Yes.
before you ask number eight, I have no idea how to answer number eight.
We don't have to. We don't have to. We
I have
can
no
skip
idea how to
over.
answer that one. I was like,
You don't have to. We can just skip that one. So,
good
um,
conversation, good conversation.
yes. So it is very good conversation. And so today, wonderful and healthy. You now lead both as a social advocate and as the owner of the most beautiful, beautiful hotel. I had the great fortune to stay in, the Elysian. So how do your leadership styles and public service and business differ, and also what connects them?
Okay, so that's a good question actually, because they're a bit different. So the public service is really focused on collective outcomes and long-term system change,
Mhm,
right?
mhm,
Decisions often require consensus and building and policy thinking. So it's a whole gamut of ideas and bringing everyone together on consensus. And in business, well, at least with my Elysian boutique hotel, leadership is more immediate. It's more guest centered. It's more attention to detail, hospitality, and the guest experience,
mhm.
right? You still have to learn how to navigate with your staff and using your public service experience to bring consensus and that sort of thing. So that's that's a given. Absolutely, what connects them is the empathy, I would say,
Mhm.
empathy, um, stewardship, and because everything I try to do in excellence, I would add excellence.
Mhm. And you accomplish that.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you.
so well, you just addressed this. So my next question is, so how do you bring in these values that you championed as First Lady, empathy, empowerment, inclusion into the hospitality space? So you
Yeah.
mentioned empathy already.
Yeah. Well, yeah, again, people centered.
Mhm.
Making sure that people are at the center of whatever you do,
Mhm.
that it's that your employees are okay,
Mhm.
at their best, trying to keep them motivated, that guest experiences are amazing.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, I think the inclusion of
Mhm.
of everything and just making it work.
Yes. What is one misconception that people have about leadership, especially when it comes to women in high visibility roles?
Hmm. Gosh, I can think of a few. Okay, so I would say misconception is that it's well, being in control or being perfect. For
Mm.
women, especially visible women, there's added pressure to have it all together. We
Mhm.
need to have it all together.
Mhm.
If we slip up in anything, oh,
Oh,
she
wow.
doesn't have it together. No, she can't lead, she can't do because she did this.
Wow.
So it is that people want to see perfection in us.
Mm.
They want to make sure we have the perfect family, the perfect this, the perfect that.
Mhm.
That's what they expect. I think that's a misconception that I think people have because we're not perfect. We're just
Mhm.
human beings. And to me, the truth is that leadership is about courage to be honest.
Yes.
Courage to be honest, to ask for help when needed, and to build teams that share um, responsibility.
Mhm.
I think vulnerability is not weakness. I
Amen.
don't believe that vulnerability is weakness. It is a leadership tool.
Mm. Mhm.
And so there you have it.
Beautifully said.
I don't think that we need to be perfect or we need to have it all together.
And also you're ultimately modeling for those who are coming up in industry or coming up in a culture, um, and showing grace within the imperfection or grace within situations.
There,
That's,
grace
that's
within
what you're
imperfection.
modeling, right? So,
Absolutely. And what we're teaching our young girls is that every day we wake up and we try our best to be the better version of ourselves
mhm.
from yesterday.
Yes. I mean, that's all any of us can do, really.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Especially for our young girls.
Yes. Yes. So when you look back at your time as First Lady, what do you hope people remember most about your impact?
Well, I think I would want to say the concrete changes. I think I would want people to remember the spaces that I was able to create that will outlast me.
Mhm.
The spaces for people who I will probably never, ever meet.
Mhm.
And those two spaces are the neonatal and pediatric intensive care unit and the Inspiration Center, which is a center for that provides therapy for children with disabilities.
Mhm.
So for me, it is those spaces that exist because communities demanded them and partners funded them.
Mhm.
And of course, both projects have been able to have such impact on Belize's society because they didn't exist before. And it has brought real changes to underserved communities.
Mhm.
We talk about equality, and if we don't have a space for a pregnant person to have her baby in a safe environment and that baby be able to thrive if it's a preemie, then, that's not equality. It's not human rights. If we don't have a space where our children with disabilities can go and get their therapy, speech therapy, occupational therapy, physical therapy, then how are we upholding their human rights,
Yes.
right? So to me, absolutely those two, and it's like I said, it is two projects that hopefully will outlast me and will get better and better as the years and centuries go by.
Yes. Well, and also what I'm thinking as you're saying this is that in doing that too, obviously you're changing perception of this group of people who were in the shadows essentially. And so by bringing them out of the shadows, it's saying you belong. And I mean, there's so many different prongs of that, I think. There's the service itself, and then the other ideas and perceptions that start to form around that.
It's
Uh,
shining light
yes.
to
Yes.
those people who are not always visible.
Right. Mhm. Yes. Yes. So, what issues facing women and children in Belize and in the Caribbean still keep you up at night? And what gives you hope? It sounds like there's a lot of hope in what you just said moving forward, but are there other things that do keep you up still at night, or how do you feel about that now?
I'm sleeping better,
That's
but
that's good. That's very
but
good.
I do, and I have to say this: I do worry about access. I worry about access to quality care, health care, including cancers, early cancer screening, and early detection. I worry about access to education, access to protection from violence.
Mm.
And why? Because those gaps disproportionately affect women and children.
Mhm.
So we're always at the end of those,
Mhm.
not having access to proper healthcare, not having access to proper education, and access to protection from violence.
Yeah.
What gives me hope every day is you have great community leaders, you have young activists,
Mhm.
we have great community healthcare workers working in these rural communities. So we just have to, continue to hope and continue to do our part. It's not about just stepping away. If I mean, there's no way you can just step away completely.
Mm-mm.
You're always doing something and trying to help. Perhaps not as visibly as you used to, but yes, I try to do my part in my own way. in terms of improving or working on improving access
Mhm.
for women and girls and
Mhm.
children.
Beautiful. And so finally, if you could share one message with women leaders who are facing their own personal battles while trying to make a difference, what would you tell them?
Um, well, first off, I don't think that you have to choose between healing and your calling.
Mm,
I don't believe that. Um, your vulnerability can be your leadership.
mm.
Just don't stay stuck there.
Yes. Yes.
Don't stay stuck in your
Very good
vulnerability.
point.
Ask for help, accept imperfect days, and let your purpose be your compass, especially when fear is just lingering
Mhm.
around the corner, like
Yeah.
it often does.
Yeah.
Um, and remember that asking for and receiving support isn't a detour from leadership.
Mm,
It's a part of the work. It's part of the journey.
mm,
It's part of the reaching. It's part
mm.
of that walk that you have to do. So,
That certainly would ensure growth.
yeah, I think that would be my advice. It's part of the growth
Mm,
of it. Always keep your purpose at your core.
mhm,
Make sure it's always people centered. Make sure you are just a vessel. You're just a channel,
mm.
you know?
Yeah.
It's always about the community that you serve.
Mhm.
So,
Well, I think you very much embody the humility that you talk about. So thank you for sharing that. And will you please write a book? You have so much genuine leadership and insight, and there's such grace in what you say. And I know there's so many things that you didn't say. You know, I mean, that's a big, you filled many, many big roles and continue to. So,
thank
um,
you. Thank
thank
you,
you.
Melanie. Thank you. Thank you. Maybe one day I will write a book. Let's
I
see.
hope that you will.
Let's
I
see.
think that you have a
20,
lot.
I'm manifesting.
There you go.
2026 will be a year of revelation.
There you go.